All right, welcome to the show, World Soccer Radio on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network. I'm Nick Geber with Danny Page, and as we say every day on the show, Danny, there's so much to talk about. The world of football doesn't disappoint, and today, well, disappointment is the last thing on my mind, Danny. Some outrageous comments today. We've got the best backstory in football, and it's right here on the show.
Well, we've talked so much, Nick, about what makes this a great Barclays Premier League season. And it's not just the play on the field. It's the transfer dealings, and it is the management subplots that we see week in and week out. Thank goodness Jose Mourinho is back in the Barclays Premier League, and we get to talk about his latest antics today. The top four managers are on fire right now. This is a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, it certainly is. So we've got Jose Mourinho and Arsene Wenger. They are going head-to-head like it's a World Wrestling Federation bout, if that's what we called it. Or is it World Wrestling Entertainment now? It's like WWE right here in the Premier League. We're going to bring you the latest smack talk between the two biggest managers. Plus, we've got fifth-round FA Cup action coming this weekend. We're going to talk with the man from Fox Sports, Keith Costigan, one of their lead analysts, about what to look forward to this weekend in the FA Cup fifth round.
Yeah, really some incredible matches that some people believe are almost semifinals. That Chelsea, Man City, the winner of that match, will play the Arsenal-Liverpool winner at some point. And those two teams, the winner from there, will be the eventual FA Cup champion. Just with the quality of those four, of that top four, I tend to agree with it, Nick. I think that the two winners of these two games will eventually duke it out. And Keith Costigan, who's part of the coverage on Fox this weekend, will be our guest tonight on the show. Great program ahead here.
And, of course, it is all gone Craven at Craven Cottage for Rene Meulenstein, who gets the sack. Felix McGrath comes in. We're going to talk about that management move. I think it's another unfortunate situation for Rene. Not sure he's done, that much worse than anyone else could do. Now, how much pressure is on Felix with an 18-month contract? We're going to talk about that. So we've got management changes. We've got manager smack talk. We've got FA Cup fifth round. We've got Keith Costigan. Man, we got a jam-packed show. Big hello to our men and women in uniform around the world listening on American Forces Radio. What a privilege it is to speak to you each and every weeknight from 9 p.m. Eastern Time right here on the Sports Byline Network. And, of course, we're also on the affiliate stations of the Sports Byline Network. We're on TuneIn.com. We're on iHeartRadio.com. We're also on, you can see our beautiful mugs, by the way, live at Watch WSR. We got so much. Now's a great time, folks, to get up. Use the loo if you have to. We've got to take a break. We'll be back in 3 minutes to kick it all off here on World Soccer Radio on the Sports Byline USA Radio Network, so you don't go anywhere.
Now,
We
here's
will be
something
right
you
back.
don't hear on the radio every day. Someone who can't see.
The extended throw out. All right, we're a little behind, but other than that, we're
I'm
fine.
unable to sleep at night.
You're down.
I feel like I'm constantly running.
right, welcome back. World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline USA. Nick and Danny with you. Danny, today is one of those days. You know, I woke up and I thought, oh, fifth round,
that
FA
should
Cup, that's exciting. We're going to have Keith Costigan on. That's exciting. It's always great to have Keith on.
Right.
And then,
but what are we going to do with the opening segment?
Yeah, what are we going to do with the opening segment? And, you know, what is there to talk about? Because, quite frankly, we've beaten the United thing into the ground a little bit. And
it's still a lot of fun.
No, it is. And by the way, for United fans, I just want to make a comment. I hate you. Not you personally. I hate your team. You know that. But I'm trying to be objective as possible about it from within my seething hate. Okay, maybe not. But, you know, we're not going to beat it to death every night and gloat. We're going to gloat when another mistake happens, when something happens that's worthy of gloating. And quite frankly, your team's been giving us plenty of gloat-worthy things to talk about on almost a daily basis. But having said that, today it's not about Man United, surprisingly enough. Danny, let's do this. Let's let the two managers in question here speak for themselves, shall we?
Yeah.
Here is Arsene Wenger speaking about... well, you can hear it for yourself. Here we go.
Are Liverpool and Spurs back in it after the results of the last couple of games, do you think?
Yeah, I always said they know that many teams are in it and that it will be very tight until the end.
Why do you think it is that, apart from you and Manuel Pellegrini, every other manager is saying, no, we can't win the title, we're not contenders?
It's fear to fail.
What do you mean by that? Could you expand on what do you mean?
There's nothing, not more to say. If you're not in a race, you cannot lose it. If you declare yourself not in a race, you cannot lose it. That's simple as that.
Is he just distracting from his own team by all that?
It's very difficult when you're first in the league to distract people. I say, yes, we are in it. Yes, we'll have a go for it. We'll absolutely give up everything to go for it. And if we don't do it, I will take responsibility for it. But I just see it like that.
You've got 2 games now before the Premier League resumes. Do you feel that could change the dynamics in any way of the title race?
As you say, it can have an incidence, and it's a physical burden as well, you know, on the teams that you have to cope with. And of course, that can have an influence. The mental shape and the mental level of confidence of the team and the positive vibes that are within the team are always very important, and therefore the results are in any competition can have an influence.
Wenger says today that it's Chelsea's
we're going to ruin it there, so I don't want to do that. Sorry about that.
That's enough.
Yes, well, that's enough of that one.
Yeah.
Okay, the positive vibes. I love it when the French speak the positive vibes. So they are afraid to fail. That is a fascinating comment, because one of the themes we're gonna get to here, Danny, on particularly this segment is, you know, what both of these managers say. Actually, there's a great deal of truth to both of their statements. He's right to a certain degree. If you say you're not in the race, then you can never lose, right?
It's true. I think that because these players, and I'll be brief with this, because these players have so much pressure on them day in and day out, it's a regular tactic for a manager to remove the pressure from them. You know, that, hey, we're just going out and playing, when we all know that's, you know, a major lie for the most part.
Right. So then the question is Arsene Wenger himself afraid to fail? He's suggesting not. This is an interesting statement that he makes, Danny, because it's one of the criticisms I've got actually of David Moyes. He's afraid to fail. He's not willing to gamble. That's what Wenger's saying here, really. He's saying, you know, I'm not afraid to gamble. I'm not afraid to put it out there. And if we lose, we lose.
Come on.
Look, you and I know that's absolute rubbish, okay? But that's what he's saying.
Is.
The wonderful
Total
thing
rubbish.
about when Wenger talks absolute rubbish is that there's always a certain somebody in the background who wants to chime in and call Wenger for what he is. And or what that statement is. And
we all know who's going to do that.
And of course, we all know who's going to do that. And here he is, Mr. the special one himself, with, quite frankly, one of the most special comments he's ever made. You've got to listen to this interview very, very carefully, okay?
Wenger says today that it's Chelsea's title to lose. Do you have any reaction to that, please?
No.
Is he right?
The champion is Man United. So Man United is the title owner till the moment where mathematically they lose the title, but the title belongs to Man United. So if Man United is not champion this season, and we all agree that it's almost impossible for them to be, Man United lose the title, nobody else lose the title.
Arsene has also said that comments coming from managers saying that they are not in the title race come out of a fear of failure. Do you have a fear of failure?
You know, he is a specialist in failure. I'm not. So if supposedly he is right and I am afraid of fail, it's because I don't fail many times. So maybe he's right, maybe I'm not used to fail, but the reality is that he's a specialist, because 8 years without a piece of silverware, that's failure. And if I do that in Chelsea, 8 years, I leave London, I don't come back.
Wow.
A specialist in failure.
8 years without a trophy, that's failure. You know, Danny, he's just saying, to some degree, what's the truth?
That's
I mean,
true.
many Arsenal supporters are saying this themselves. Now, I think they're all missing the point that Wenger has won trophies each year of the 8 years. He has won the Arsene Wenger Champions League qualification trophy,
Right.
and there's a lot
is
of value
really
to that.
important. Especially as a Liverpool fan, you would understand that. But also as a Liverpool fan, Nick, you know, what did it feel like between winning, I think it was the FA Cup over West Ham in 2006, and then the League Cup again, 5 years later? That seemed like quite a drought,
Yep.
I would imagine. And
No.
to go 8 years and be in contention has to be brutally frustrating.
And Liverpool, the club, of course, that thrives on silverware. For Liverpool, the silverware is the most important thing, the single most important thing. Yes, Champions League qualification is important. Look, I read an article today talking about Arsenal's finances. They have a cash reserve right now, cash, £128 million.
Sounds like you.
Okay, yes, exactly. They have £128 million. Yet they won't pull the trigger on a Julian Draxler because they're off by $3 million. I mean, that to me is failure, Danny. That is failure. Jose Mourinho is right. 8 years without a trophy, when you've had the resources to do it, you've had the wherewithal to do it. You know, the tools have all been available to you. I'm sorry. I think he's right. I think Arsene Wenger has been a failure in that regards. Now, whether you could say someone else would have done a better job, that's a different question. Whether you say he should be there or he should not be there, that's a different question, Danny. But is he a specialist in not winning after 8 years? I would say probably right.
Yeah, he's a specialist in keeping the club where it needs to be by staying in the Champions League. You just have the feeling that this whole thing's going to blow up, and it's going to blow up in the next week here with a fixture against a team that just beat you 5-1 8 days prior. And then a home Champions League match where if they lose Sunday, a lot of the tickets for season ticket holders I read are 132 quid, as you said on the show yesterday.
£132 per ticket.
That's for a season ticket holder that already pays the equivalent of about $3,400 American dollars per ticket just for the right to buy tickets.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Arsenal has the most expensive ticket in world football.
But they can't go out and get Dimitar Berbatov for 5 months. They can't go out and bring in Julian Draxler because of a £3 million discrepancy, as you said yesterday.
They bid £40 million and £1 for Suarez. If they had bid £50 million for Suarez,
they'd win the title.
They would have got him and they would have won the title. Okay, was that £10 million worth it?
Maybe 55.
Okay, whatever. Is that £15 million worth it?
Oh yeah.
I mean, absolutely. Tell me about it. This is the problem. If you're sitting on £126 million, maybe you make a little mistake and maybe you blow some money that you shouldn't have. This whole thing, Danny, it's becoming almost surreal. It's becoming crazy. It is first and foremost a business, second a football club. And the business is overtaking the needs of the football club. Danny, they're big troubles at the Emirates. From what I see, they're going to need to win something. Win something soon. Okay, we do have to go to break though. World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline, USA Radio Network. It is that very break time coming up. Let us know how you feel. Find us on Twitter at World Soccer Radio. That's at World Soccer Radio. We promise you Keith Costigan, and we will deliver. Coming up after the break, we're going to be speaking to Keith himself from Fox Sports. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This special announcement is for business owners and leaders of organizations who've been waiting for the right time to build. General Steel has made it impossible to wait any longer with rock-bottom prices that could save you thousands. That's right, General Steel, America's leader in pre-engineered structures, is offering buildings at prices you will never see again. A 14 by 21 foot shop for under $6,000 or a 50 by 100 for under $30,000. You heard right, that's 5,000 square feet under $30,000. Manufacturers, if you need a larger building, try a 100 by 100 commercial building for $129,000. You can't afford to rent with these prices. Imagine a 70 by 100 foot church building for under $69,000. With the economy improving and interest rates still at historic lows, you can't afford to wait.
Call 800-965-1298. 800-965-1298. 800-965-1298.
Attention, if you've had hip replacement surgery and suffered any complications, you need to listen to this important legal alert. Major manufacturers have made billions of dollars available to award legal claims for defective hip implants. Thousands of these defective hip implants have been recalled by various manufacturers. If you've had hip surgery and suffered complications, you may be entitled to receive significant compensation to help you deal with your complications. You may be eligible to receive money to help with medical expenses, lost wages, and pain and suffering. Protect yourself by hiring an experienced trial attorney. Our partner law firms are experts in hip replacement surgery lawsuits. Find out now if you're eligible to receive any of the $2.5 billion hip settlement fund. Call now for free information. 800-296-1360. 800-296-1360. 800-296-1360. That's 800-296-1360.
This family is at home, but they won't be answering the door. They know that the pounding on the door is a process server from the court waiting to hand them foreclosure documents. So instead of enjoying the home they worked so hard to afford, they sit hiding in the dark.
Mom, what was that?
But it doesn't have to be this way. This family can save their home, but they must act fast. Call Allied State Foreclosure Solutions at 800-274-7312. If you're being threatened with foreclosure, have been denied a loan modification, missed a payment on your mortgage, been a victim of a predatory loan, or are upside down on your home, it's critical that you call Allied State Foreclosure Solutions now. 800-274-7312. Allied State Foreclosure Solutions has an attorney in your area that will meet and speak with you. You can stop the foreclosure process, lower your monthly mortgage payments, save your home and your credit, but you must act now. Call 800-274-7312. 800-274-7312.
All right, welcome back to the show. World Soccer Radio. Once again, big hello to our men and women in uniform around the world listening on American Forces. You know, we say that every segment just about, Danny, because it's a true privilege to be on American Forces. We're on a lot of outlets, but, you know, that one in particular just resonates a great deal for us. So, you know, it's great. But listen, so much to get to. Nick and Danny with you, of course. We just played you the press conference footage of first Arsene Wenger, then Jose Mourinho. It is WWE. It is the two big heavyweight champions of managers battling it out. Amazing stuff. And, you know, really, Mourinho has injected that level of excitement to it. We like to inject a little level of excitement ourselves into the show, Danny. So we welcome to the show our very special guest from Fox Sports, Mr. Keith Costigan himself. Keith, did you check out any of that smack talk between the two managers today?
I mean, I'm just wondering what happened to the nice one or whatever he was going to be this year in Jose Mourinho. You knew it was going to be a matter of time before he sniped and tried to play some mind games, and with Fergie not in the mix, maybe he is the head of the mind game.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, he's the professor at this point.
Yeah, he is Dr. Mind Game. But, you know, the funny thing is, Keith, you know, when you listen to what they say, in fact, in point of fact, there's a kernel of truth to what both of them say. I mean, Wenger is correct when he says, you know, that Tottenham and Liverpool say they're not in the title race because, you know, they don't want to be in the race so that they can't fail, so that they're not going to raise expectations. And, you know, for two teams that haven't won the Premier League at any point, I think that that's only fair, and I think Wenger's correct. By the same token, I think Mourinho's spot on. 8 years without a trophy, that's failure.
Yeah, I think you have to take it in context, though, because, you know, people could easily point to Jose Mourinho going to Madrid and having everything at his disposal and, you know, the ability to bring in any player he wants. And been absolutely torn apart in a Champions League semi-final. Many people could point to that as failure.
Yep.
So, I don't think you look at the grand scheme of things. If Arsene Wenger is a failure, I don't know too many coaches that are a success, because I think for me he's one of the best in the world and continues to be. I thought it was a low blow, and I thought it was an unnecessary blow from Mourinho, but it's something we've come to expect over the years. And unfortunately for other managers, the English press seems to lap everything up that he says, and they print it, and because of that, his stature will continue to grow.
Yeah, it was certainly a low blow, and it was not did not show the highest degrees of professionalism. I think we'll all agree on that. And it was unfair. And you're right though, Keith. I mean, Arsene Wenger may be a quote failure, but believe me, he's a failure of a manager that 99.9% of the world's clubs would snap up in a heartbeat.
Yeah, again, he's worked under a financial model over the last 8 or 9 years where he hasn't gone out and spent the money that Jose Mourinho has on certain players at clubs. And look, I'm not knocking Mourinho. I think he's a tremendous coach. He's a gifted coach. So is Arsene Wenger. That's why I don't understand why you have to need to take it to these avenues or to these areas and become personal, because I don't think if Jose Mourinho is the manager of Arsenal over the last 8 or 9 years, they're winning that much more either. That's how highly I rate Arsene Wenger. I think they're two good coaches, and I don't like to see this, and I do blame it on Mourinho. I think it landed at his feet.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible when you look at Arsene Wenger. I was looking last night at a manager's ins and outs chart, and only 3 managers in the Barclays Premier League have been employed by their current team for more than 22 months, and that is Sam Allardyce, that is Alan Pardew, and that is Arsene Wenger since 1996. So we have to hand it to him there. But I think we've learned, and I think Jose, on the heels of Alex Ferguson, when he came into the league, 10 years ago, taught everyone this, the importance of managerial mind games. I mean, do you feel like these head games do give Mourinho and Chelsea an edge? It seems to me like they have over the years, and it seems to me like they're doing so again here all the way in 2014, 10 years after he came into the league.
I think you make a great point, Danny. Looking back, you think of all the cases where so-called mind games have played a part. They can make you or break you. I think Kevin Keegan was the first really famous one, with Alex Ferguson when he went on the rant. I would love it if we beat them. He didn't. And I don't think he ever really recovered at club level again because of that. I think Wenger and Wenger gave as good as he got at times with Alex Ferguson. Rafa Benitez when he went at Fergie, and again, once he lost that battle, I think it was difficult for Rafa to gain the credit he deserves among the English press. And Mourinho's kind of seen that mantle. Now it's open. Fergie was the king of it, and now he's gone. And Mourinho's kind of jumped in and tried to take control of that media. And it's almost like you're waiting for the other team to flinch. You're saying things and see how they'll react, and seeing if you'll get a rise, see if you'll get them to jump to the bait. And Mourinho, he's never been afraid to say what he wants to say. And on this occasion, he's trying to see the reaction of Arsenal and Arsene Wenger. And unfortunately, it's taken it to a place where I generally don't like to think.
Keith, let's turn our attention, if we can. There's a couple topics I want to hit before we start talking about the FA Cup, which we'll do in the next segment. If you're still with us, I hope you will be. Rene Meulenstein is out. Felix McGrath is in at Fulham. A bit surprising for me because, they just brought Meulenstein in as a replacement for Martin Jol. Surely there's a point where you say, maybe the issue's not the manager.
The owner of Fulham, am I correct in that he owns the Jacksonville Jaguars still?
That is correct, yes.
You are correct.
The last time I checked, now I'm not a big NFL fan, but last time I checked, Jacksonville Jaguars weren't any kind of relevant team in NFL when it comes to playoffs.
They've been relegated, actually. They were sent back down to college football.
The point I'm trying to make is sometimes you have the wrong people setting the structure. If you're going to bring in Rene Meulenstein halfway through the season, bring in a bunch of signings, and then after a couple of good performances, decide to go a different route. I think you have to look beyond the coaches here. I'm not saying Meulenstein would have got them out of the bottom three, but is there a real benefit right now to making a drastic change? I don't know. And this smacks of issues beyond the training room, beyond the dressing room. I think the issues with Fulham are above. And because of this, I see them going down. And to be honest, I don't see them coming straight back up either. This is a club in turmoil.
It just reeks of QPR last year in some ways, doesn't it? With all the movement, with the shuffle of managers. To me, this team does look like a team that is headed down. I think they're kind of the first one that we can earmark, in my mind at least.
Yeah, and it's particularly weird timing because I do think we've seen an improvement. I do think they've made some signings that are going to improve the side on the field. I just don't know if you're going to give managers 2-3 months to change the climate of the dressing room or the direction of the club and expect results. You're in for a surprise. It takes a lot longer than that, and I can't feel any sympathy for Fulham. And I'm guessing Clint Dempsey isn't enjoying his spell there right now either. I'm sure he's actually looking forward to coming back to MLS because he hasn't even got a look in the last few games.
All right, Keith, one more question before we take break and then come back, talk about the FA Cup. You know, I'm hesitant because I don't want to set the standards, but you know, after Liverpool's performances, particularly the comeback win against Fulham, Keith, you're a big Liverpool supporter. You're intimately connected to the club. Are they title contenders, or is this too much?
Arsene Wenger makes a great point. Teams don't like to say they're title contenders because the minute you lose a game and you're not, then you failed. Liverpool are 4 points off the top of the table with 13 games to go. I think they're in the title race. I think when you have Manchester City still to come, Chelsea still to come, both Anfield, you've just beaten the other side above you 5-1 in league play. The team directly below you, you've beaten 5-0 away from home. Of course, you're in the title race. And, you know, Liverpool have certain deficiencies, but I think all the other teams in the top four do as well. What Liverpool have is the most potent attacking pair in the Premier League, and Daniel Sturridge and Luis Suarez. They will win games where they don't play well. When they struggle defensively, they'll outscore teams. They are definitely in the title race.
Well, isn't that what we saw from Man United last year, Keith? I mean, when they struggled defensively, when they shouldn't have won games, I mean, Van Persie was putting games in the bag for them. I mean, isn't that the single most important thing you need? Defenses can be shored up later, and maybe the Premier League these days isn't build from the back. It's got to have your front in first. And in fact, Mourinho today was talking a little bit about how he was bemoaning not having that sort of regular striker.
Yeah, and that's what I mean about the deficiencies. I don't think Manchester City are very strong defensively. I don't think Arsenal, I Theo Walcott is a bigger loss than we talk about or we give credit for. I think they've struggled in the final third. Ozil has maybe hit a wall. Chelsea are strong defensively, but will they score enough goals? We saw that in the game against West Bromwich Albion. They'll drop points. This is an open title race, and you know, I've heard behind the scenes there's people in that dressing room at Anfield who fully believe they're in the title race. So the united front is, look, we're taking every time it comes. But the players believe. You mark my words, and there may be no better opportunity to win the Premier League than this year as well.
Keith, one last question before we go to break. I mean, I talk a lot about David Moyes and his inability to gamble. It's just not in his DNA. Total opposite for Brendan Rodgers, right?
No. He's a breath of fresh air. Liverpool lost at Chelsea earlier in the season, and he brought on young Brad Smith, who'd never played in a Premier League game before. In a massive game, huge importance to the club. And if you're a young player, what is that telling you about your manager? He has absolute faith in everybody, and he has faith in his system. He brought on João Teixeira, who I've actually met. He's a very nice young man. In another high-pressure game against Fulham, where they were going for 3 points, Rodgers believes in himself 100%. He's not afraid to take gambles, and so far, you'd have to say those gambles have paid off, and Liverpool are a fun team to watch again.
All right, we're speaking with Keith Costigan from Fox Sports. We have to go to break. We're going to come back after the break with Keith, and we're going to get into the FA Cup 5th round, which is coming up this weekend. Some really big matches there, 2 marquee ones, but there's a couple other big ones as well. Keith will give us the breakdown on all of them and give us his take prior to the weekend's action. We'll be right back after this.
So, you're tooling along in your Malibu, and bam, some guy darts across your lane. You swerve and hit the ditch just hard enough to know you did some damage. Seconds later, an advisor comes through the stereo speakers and says, "OnStar, is there an emergency?" As you realize there was, some high-tech motion sensor was activated. A signal shot out 12,000 miles from orbiting satellites to calculate your exact coordinates, along with where you were hit and how hard, automatically alerting an advisor who offered to call an ambulance and dispatch a nearby tow truck, for which you thanked him profusely. You did not do one single thing, and yet a potent combination of amazing technology and human concern are swirling around you as a deep wave of relief washes over you. All because you drive a Chevrolet Malibu connected by OnStar. Find new roads. OnStar acts as a link to existing emergency service providers. For details, availability, and system limitations, visit OnStar.com.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number.
Call 877-499-MY-TV.
The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money.
Call 877-499-MY-TV.
Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $24.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $24.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card.
Call 877-499-MY-TV. That's 877-499-MY-TV.
Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more.
Call now, 877-499-MY-TV. That's 877-499-MY-TV.
This offer is void where prohibited. Resort selections and reservations are subject to availability. This ad is used for the purpose of soliciting the sale of timeshare interests.
If you've got 2 hours to spare, we've got a world of fun to share. Take your family on a magnificent 4-day, 3-night vacation to either Orlando or Las Vegas. Valued at more than $700, you pay just $159 total. Yes, just $159 for 4 days and 3 nights. Diamond Resorts International is making this special offer just so you can experience our brilliant Diamond Class accommodations. It's not just a standard hotel room, but a spacious suite. Discover Diamond Resorts International with an informative presentation about what makes our famous vacation ownership accommodations such amazing vacations. Call right now to see if you qualify for this amazing vacation and a $100 Visa gift card, and to hear additional restrictions and details. Call 800-541-5085. That's 800-541-5085.
All right, welcome back to the show, World Soccer Radio. Nick Geber, Danny Page with you. FA Cup 5th round. That is what's on the agenda this segment. We are rejoined by our very special guest from Fox Sports, Mr. Keith Costigan. Before we get back to Keith, Danny, are you looking forward to the FA Cup coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to the FA Cup coming up. Great coverage, as always, from Fox Soccer. And you know, what I said earlier in the show, Nick, I'd like to get the impression of a true expert in Keith Costigan. And you know, a lot of years we see a team like Wigan make a deep run. Pompey, obviously, their run to the final and such. Everton always seems to be there. But I just feel like this year, the top 4 in the league and in the FA Cup are in a lot of ways a class above everyone else. And that these 2 matches this weekend, to me, seem like 2 semifinals for the most part.
Yeah, I agree. You get the sense in the cup competitions this year that they mean a little bit more. I think Pellegrini's come in and he wants to win. You know, it's difficult to win the Premier League. There's 3 or 4 teams in competition. If you don't win that, you want to at least have something at the end of the year to say, you know, look what we've done and accomplished this season. So I think because of that, the bigger teams are taking it more seriously. But I think you look at Chelsea, Manchester City in particular, they have the squads that can cope with this. You know, they can mix a match and drop 3 or 4 players and still have a very strong squad in the FA Cup. So it's quite funny that all 4 teams have been drawn together in this round. And I think it'll show with their team lineups this weekend how important the cup competitions are to all of the teams.
Keith, if you're Manchester United, you're watching this. I mean, it's funny because their Europa League fate may well hang in the balance here about who makes the final of this competition.
It's absolutely incredible, isn't it? And you know, everyone talks about Liverpool and Manchester United, and we forget about Tottenham. Tottenham are right up there.
That's right.
They're going to be, and they're playing very, very well. They won at Old Trafford. They picked up big victories recently. Big win in Newcastle. So, yeah, you're right. You know, United have to look to these FA Cup teams and hope one of the big sides win it. But you still have sides like Everton in there. Sunderland and Southampton, also Southampton in particular, who played very well in patches this season, all capable of going on a run and winning this competition. So I don't necessarily want to say Manchester United fans are cheering for Liverpool and Arsenal and Manchester City, but by the end it might very well have to be.
By the way, Keith, I just want to point out two things very quickly. Number one is I've been saying that about Spurs, that if there's any team that can pip Liverpool to that fourth place, it's Spurs, and they are really pushing Liverpool to have to really, really be careful and not give away points. But second of all, I love Southampton. To me, that is the feel-good team of the season. Primarily English players. They're developing some young superstars there. Some a great young manager. Really one of my favorite teams in the Prem to watch these days.
No, and you know, I think it's a testament to other coaches like Sam Allardyce in the league who come in and say, well, the English game, you have to play a certain way, you have to fight, you have to... Pochettino comes in with English players, has structure. I think they've been attractive to watch at times this year. They look well organised, they create goal-scoring chances, and they get the best out of their flair players like Lallana and Rodriguez and Lambert. So I think he's done a wonderful job, and any young coaches out there watching, I think... You know, you do yourself a justice to have a look at the job Pochettino has done with a squad that is nowhere near the level, that their league position shows right now. I think he's been excellent.
One thing that interests me in regards to the FA Cup, obviously last season I just brought up Wigan, and now this season, is you have some of the teams that are battling relegation in different leagues, actually, making runs here. I mean, we're obviously seeing Sunderland facing Man City in the League Cup final. They take on Southampton in the lunchtime kickoff coming up on Fox Soccer early tomorrow morning. Certainly not lunchtime for us. Cardiff City is making a run. Sheffield United is on the edge of being dropped into League Two, which is unfathomable in some ways. What is it about these teams being able to create and go on cup runs? How does it happen?
It's the magic of the FA Cup. When I was back in December, one of the questions that we had to pose to all of the players, the Tim Howards, the Theo Walcotts, was what is it about the FA Cup, about playing these minnows that brings them to life? And they all said it's amazing because you go to these grounds and it doesn't matter where they are in the league. You mentioned Sheffield United. It doesn't seem to matter how badly they're doing. The fans get behind them, and they see it as their opportunity to showcase their ability to some of the bigger teams. So it's so hard to describe. It happens every year. This tournament is magic, and it continues to produce fairy tale stories. And I'm looking at the draw right now, and can you imagine if we have a Sheffield United Sheffield Wednesday quarterfinal? It might not be the Premier League side, but what a matchup that would be for FA Cup play,
Absolutely. So, Keith, let's look at some of these matches. Let's start with it's Stadium of Lights, Sunderland, Southampton. How do you see that one?
I've just said they're a dark horse. I kind of have to say Southampton now, but I do think Gus Poyet's done a good job at Sunderland so far. I think they're playing better football. Two good coaches, but I just think you look in that final third, and where are the goals coming from Sunderland? I just don't see it. And I think Lambert, Rodriguez, Lallana, class acts, class players, and that'll be just enough to get Southampton over the finish line. All
right, next matchup is Sheffield Wednesday, Charlton. I mean, Charlton Athletic are in serious trouble in the league.
Yeah, they're in the relegation zone spot too.
They're in the relegation spot. Is this one maybe that Charlton would be happy to pass on so that they can focus in on staying in the league?
Yeah, I often hear teams say that, but I think if you look throughout history, the teams that go on a run, sometimes it almost helps you because you get a little bit of momentum, you get a little bit of confidence, and it translates into league play. So although you may say, it's a distraction, I think you can use these games to build some confidence. Unfortunately for Charlton, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Sheffield Wednesday are going to get the win and move on.
All right, so let's go to the
man.
big match on Saturday, which is obviously at the
Cardiff,
Etihad.
Wigan.
What's that? Cardiff Wigan? No, it's at the
no,
Etihad. It's Man City Chelsea. This is a big clash. Do you see Mourinho getting the upper hand here?
Yeah, I thought City played well in the first matchup, but Chelsea defended well. They defended those areas. You see a lot of times when City get the ball wide and they get crosses in, their forwards attack the space well. But Mourinho playing two central defenders as defensive midfielders, drop back in, compress the space. The key here is getting that first goal. If City score early and Chelsea have to come out a little bit, City will win. If Chelsea get a goal again early on and get a lead, it's going to be difficult for City. I happen to think City are going to get this one. I really do.
I do too. I agree.
But
they're a quality team.
But for me, City have come off the boil in terms of scoring, and that's been their ticket to success. I mean, they've had trouble putting goals in the last couple of games, and that's been fascinating to watch with the likes of Aguero injured, and their injury woes have not got any better. Although I think Samir Nasri may be coming back, and that would be a big help.
Yeah, I think with Negredo, his first season, he's done very well, but you always got the sense like this is the business end where sometimes players who haven't played in the Premier League start to struggle a little bit, in terms of playing so many games over Christmas, and, it starts to take its toll. Like Aguero is a big loss.
Right.
With Aguero on the field, I think Manchester City are the Premier League title winners. Without him, I think all of a sudden it's a level playing field.
Yeah, interesting stuff. All right, so you think you actually think that City will get the better of that. Let's go to Sunday very quickly. Everton, Swansea at Goodison Park, if it hasn't floated away. I think Everton are going to take this. I mean, this is sort of right in Martinez's wheelhouse, isn't it? The FA Cup.
I saw a great tweet from a fan the other day. He said, "I just drove by the roof of Goodison Park. It seems to be intact." He said, "The only issue is I'm in Crosby." So I thought it was a great tweet.
That's good.
Yeah, hopefully everything goes ahead. I think Swansea. They played reasonably well under Gary Monk, but I think Everton should have just enough, particularly given that they're playing at home. Although I think Everton are a team that are starting to struggle to create goal-scoring chances.
Well, of course,
just enough to get over the line.
Right, and of course, it just goes to show just how important Lukaku has been to that team. And I've always said that the problem with there is you're building your foundation on a lone player. So you saw what happened with West Brom last year, right?
Yeah, and I wonder, with Traore, I've seen him play. I think if you remember, we covered Liverpool and Angie in the Europa League, and I've seen it. Traore got the winning goal. He is a good player. He's a tall player, but he's very good on it with his feet. I think we'll start to see him get minutes. And
wait, hold on, Keith. So you're telling me he's got quick feet for a big man, right?
I hate to say it because it's what is it? He's good for a big man. He's good for any. If he was 5'10", he'd be good with his feet.
Yeah.
He is a good player.
All right. So Sheffield United, Nottingham Forest. We talked about that one briefly, but let's move on to the big match at the Emirates. It's Arsenal, Liverpool. Just Keith, I mean, I watched this game and I know that Wenger has a huge Champions League match coming up, and I know that Liverpool get some break time, and Mourinho was quite right in saying that Liverpool were a lucky chihuahua because they don't have to play any European matches, and he's absolutely correct. But for me, I just think this is a real character test for Arsenal.
It is. Look, you don't want to go on any kind of run that gives the press more ammunition to fire at you, and they've gone 2 games without getting results. I thought they were poor against Manchester United. They're very poor against Liverpool. They want to get back on track. If they lose this game, they're going into the European fixtures low on confidence. So it's an important one for Arsenal. But I think Liverpool also understand that this represents their best opportunity of silverware. They're on the outside of that title race, but they want to go on an FA Cup run. This is going to be a very, very good game.
By the way, I just want to go on record in saying that Arsenal-Man United game was one of the dullest games of the year in football. It was so boring.
No, I don't know. I hope you guys didn't join us. We covered Fulham, Sheffield United a couple of weeks ago, the FA Cup replay. It was the worst game I've ever done. I've done a lot of games, I've done a lot of tournaments. It was awful. It was, and Rennie Mullenstein, maybe this is one of the reasons he's not well liked at Fulham, is he said we could have played for days and we would have never scored. Well, that's an issue. It was abysmal football. It was terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah.
So
where can we find you tomorrow, Keith?
I'll be doing the rears of the Wigan game, and also the Manchester City Chelsea game, and then the Liverpool game on Sunday. So,
all right, and
some good games to be involved with.
Very quickly, Keith, we've literally just got a minute. Give me your result. We didn't get it. The Arsenal-Liverpool match. Well, how do you think that's going to go?
I think it's going to go back to Anfield.
Okay, replay.
Yeah, I think it's going to go back to Anfield.
All right, and finally, Brighton versus Brighton Hove Albion versus Hull.
Hull have made some good signings. I think they're a good team. I'll take Hull in this one. And they're another side that can go on a run this year in this competition.
All right, Keith Costigan, always a pleasure. You know, Keith, at the end of the season, we should get together and rate the dullest games of football during the season, all competitions, Premier League, League Cup.
I think we should get together and watch that Fulham Sheffield United game again.
As long as we have
that would make a really good party.
As long as we have a keg or four of beer and some strippers, that'd just about be about the only thing that makes it interesting.
That sounds much more tolerable.
Keith Costigan, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. We'll check back in with you next week.
Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot for having me.
All right, cheers. Keith Costigan from Fox Soccer, or Fox Sports now, I suppose. All right, we got to go to break. That was great stuff, Danny. Always great to have Keith on. We're going to go to break, and we'll come back, and we will wrap the show up, because it's that time already, Danny. Can you believe that?
I can't believe it, man. It's Friday night, and the feeling's right. Time for a break, though.
All right, we'll be right back after this.
When you struggle with credit card bills every month, you're not just in debt. Debt is all around you.
I see people every day that are on the brink. They're going to go over the edge, and at the bottom is bankruptcy, and we pull them back.
At the Debt Helpline, we're experts at helping you resolve your debt problems and become free of debt. We can help you pay off your debt and give you one lower monthly payment that you can afford.
You do get to consolidate your payments. You only have to worry about making one payment a month instead of making 3 or 4 or 5.
If you have $5,000, $10,000 or more in credit card bills, call the Debt Helpline now for a free confidential debt analysis.
800-957-6063. 800-957-6063. Call the CESI Debt Helpline right now for a free confidential debt review. 800-957-6063. 800-957-6063. Who did you let down today? Your wife? Your kids? Well, how about yourself? Take a look in the mirror. If you're tired of your drug and alcohol problem, you need to fix the problem, and right now, before you hurt or kill yourself, or worse yet, somebody else. Call the addiction specialist now at the Detox and Treatment Helpline, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you have private insurance, we specialize in finding you the right treatment. When you call right now, you'll speak to a recovering addict who understands what you're going through right now. Let us help you break your addiction to drug and alcohol before it's too late. This call is completely confidential and free. So if you have private insurance, take 5 minutes of your time, call right now. I promise it'll change your life. 800-296-1325. 800-296-1325. 800-296-1325. That's 800-296-1325.
This special announcement is for business owners and leaders of organizations who've been waiting for the right time to build. General Steel has made it impossible to wait any longer with rock-bottom prices that could save you thousands. That's right, General Steel, America's leader in pre-engineered structures, is offering buildings at prices you will never see again. A 14 by 21 foot shop for under $6,000, or a 50 by 100 for under $30,000. You heard right, that's 5,000 square feet under $30,000. Manufacturers, if you need a larger building, try a 100 by 100 commercial building for $129,000. You can't afford to rent with these prices. Imagine a 70 by 100 foot church building for under $69,000. With the economy improving and interest rates still at historic lows, you can't afford to wait.
Call 800-965-1298. 800-965-1298. 800-965-1298.
All right, welcome back to the show, World Soccer Radio, Sports Byline. Nick and Danny with you. Want to thank Keith Costigan from Fox Sports for coming on for the last two segments, getting into some of these fabulous topics for an FA Cup Friday. Danny, I don't think we could have asked for better topics to set us up for the weekend.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And really, again, to me, these are semifinals. I almost, in some ways, want to see replays out of both of them so we can see them play again.
Oh gosh, no, come on, not if it's the Arsenal-Man United style replay.
I'm not sure it'll be that way. I think Arsenal-Liverpool will be a really open game. I think City-Chelsea, City has to get back in this thing, right? I mean, just psychologically, they need to beat Chelsea and get back to the, head of the mental game, if you will.
Well, we'll see what happens. All the matches are on Fox Soccer to go. All the FA Cup matches are on Fox Soccer to go over the weekend. A little plug there for Keith's employer. You can check them all out. And I believe which ones do we know which ones are on Fox Sports? Big Fox Sports?
Yeah, Fox 2 has Man City, Chelsea, and then Fox 2 has a triple header tomorrow morning, including Man City, Chelsea, and then Fox 1 has Arsenal-Liverpool coming up on Sunday morning.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge match. Enjoy that one. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed the show. Listen, we love to hear from you throughout the weekend. You can reach us on Twitter at World Soccer Radio. That's at World Soccer Radio. We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/World Soccer Radio. Just want to remind you to go, if you like to listen to the show afterwards, you can always check us out. These shows are put up almost immediately. You can find them on iHeartRadio or tunein.com. Or if you want to see the video of it, if you want to see our beautiful mugs in person, all you got to do is go to Watch WSR, as in World Soccer Radio. That's watchwsr.com. And it'll take you to our YouTube channel where each show is lovingly filmed and put up on the web for your consumption, your personal viewing pleasure. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us here today on the show. I hope you will rejoin us on Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time as we will look back. Monday, of course, holiday here in the U.S., but we'll be on the air because we're the hardest working people in radio. Right, Danny?
Absolutely, Nick. Toughest hour of my life.
All right. Listen, folks, we talk about an all-star team of broadcasters here at the Sports Byline USA Network. Coming up next, the biggest all-star of them all, Mr. Ron Barr, right here on the Sports Byline Network. Do yourself a favor, check out his show. You will not regret it. Meanwhile, enjoy the matches this weekend, and we'll check back with you on Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Cheers. Have a wonderful and safe weekend.